customer wants board on board. It might be a little difficult to see, but that's what that is right there. It's board on board. So that's what the customer wants to see. This is just board next to board. And those are the 5/8 thick, 6 feet tall, and 6 inches wide. So you can see the slits when the cars pass by as they go. And I did this fence back in July maybe of 2023. Sprayed it and everything. Actually looks really good. Check out the birds. Birds like it too apparently. But this is not board on board. These were just regular pressure treated boards, 4-inch wide. I think they measured at 3.5 or so. Whatever they may be. They're dog-eared on top and they're 6 feet tall. I'm going to use 2x4s. So you can see none of the 2x4s are sagging. What I mean by sagging, I mean this. You can see that these boards are dipping in the middle. These are being supported by the wood. The posts, I apologize, by the posts. And so those are fully erect. But as the weight goes towards the middle, it starts to dip from both sides and go down. And you'll end up having that sagging there. So I don't like to use those 2x3 boards. I prefer to use the 2x4s. That's what 1, 2, and 3 boards are, 2x4s. One of the issues we end up having here was this gate is really big. It's nice. It's 50 inches from this board here to this board right there. The only problem is that the distance between this post and that wall is 8 feet plus 2 inches. So you can see that they ended up using a piece of 2x2 right on that edge there to close that gap, which is fine. And she never even noticed it. The other issue is whoever built this fence put the boards on backwards, so you really want that cross beam to be up supporting the top of the fence, not the bottom of the fence. But it's actually lasted a good 10-15 years or so, all the extra boards definitely helped out. You'll see different videos of people saying you don't need that double boarding. They'll just put one board straight up and they'll call it a day, and it works great. This gentleman used 2 and it worked out great, and maybe because he used type boxes that help support everything as well, I don't know. But this is 48 inches from the end of this post, the end of this cross board to this board over here is 48 inches. So then I'll be able to cut one of my 2x4s in half to accommodate. One board will do those 2, and then I'll have to cut another one for that, which is okay because I'll have to cut one board here, another board there, another one there. And so I had to measure because those are actually 50 inches long. I did end up buying some extra boards just to accommodate that. And then the cross beams are 50 inches long. So I'll probably just copy the same gate. I'll just flip that board to the top. That's really all I'll do. So right now I'm just doing the math to figure out if I can use a straight 8-piece board, and an 8-piece board. The only thing I didn't like was that this is only 11 inches off the ground. So I'm going to raise it up to 16. You can see the gap there is bigger than the gap from here to here. And so I'll do from the bottom of this board, not from the earth, from the bottom of that board, I'll end up doing 63 inches up top, which is basically where that clamp is now. And then I'll do 38 there in the middle. And then I'll also do 16 here. So my distance is pretty much even. Anyways, super excited. My son just texted me. I'll check what he said here in a second. But another thing that I did was I measured all those boards over there. Oh, well, not those, the board on board, and they're actually between 3 inches to 4 inches in width. So I'm going to go ahead and use this board here, which is I think 3.5 inches. Let's look real quick. This is just a generic piece of 2x4, and you can see it's 3.5 inches, and so my gap will be 3.5. This is 3, and it's not screwed in yet, so I have a secondary board there, and I'll just heat frog. Actually, that board was right here, and so you can see I barely have any board at that minimal 3.5 inch gap. Got like an inch or so on each side, and I don't want to have a bunch of screw holes everywhere, so I'm just going to do one there, one there, one there, one there. And I do have one on this board on each of the cross beams, but I'll end up having technically 2 per board. And so I'll do the same thing here. I will a hole there, and I happen to put one there just to secure it as I go. It's not a huge project. We're just gonna end up doing 1, 2, 3 panels plus half a panel. So now that I have the math down, we can go ahead and knock it out. And we have all our material here. I'll just have to move all those piles into this area here, because we're going to go ahead and spray paint it too, and we'll use this Behr waterproof stain sealer. The math showed that we really only needed 2 gallons, and this is actually pretty wet already, so it may not absorb a lot of paint, but I figured we were going to need about 2.5 gallons, and then we're going to do another side, and I figured we need another 1.5 gallons or so leaving us at 4. I figured we'd just buy the 5 gallons, and it costs the same just to buy the 5 gallons it would just to buy the 4. And of course, we don't have to waste an hour and a half to go to the store, 10 minutes to go to the store, 10 minutes for them to wait, 10 minutes to pay, 10 minutes to get back. We're at 30-40 minutes, everything goes perfect. So for $20, I think it's worth it just to buy that extra gallon. And that's it. The previous installer did use screws, and because of this, I actually use screws for that fence as well. I didn't use the Phillips. I hate Phillips, and the problem with Phillips is once you get past about 2 inches, the Phillips head, the fast, will actually start to strip, and then you can't sink it anymore. So I like to use these Deckmate 1 5/8 star drive coated screws, and they're made for exterior use. So that works out a lot better. What is this? 40% more screws per battery charge. Huh, that's good. Yeah, because they don't strip. If you got your star bit in that hole pretty square, then you're good. If you can sink it all the way into that hole, it'll drive in really nice. And so this is the I forget what size. Oh yeah, it's T25. Maybe the 1 1/4 is the T20. As it gets smaller, you don't need that much torque, so it's a slightly smaller torque head. That's it. We got our boards in. These are already secure, and so this one will be next, and I'll put my top layer, and that's it. Now I'll just work like a factory and get it going. One thing that I did want to do is try to get these boards as square as possible. This happened to be 14 1/4 inches from the bottom to the bottom of this 2x4, and so that distance right there was 14 1/4. And I forget what the distances were between them, but I did measure everything and lined it all up so that I can have my 63, 38, and 16 on there. So we're at, from the bottom to the top is 16. From here to here is 38, and from here to here is 63. Just the way I lined it up. So we're basically gonna have our post clamped at the top, almost in the middle, and another one just about 5 or 6 inches above where that one is now. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.